good, y'all? We back with another video, man. How y'all doing? Doing great today. Today we got terrifying things caught in Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? If we get to the video, let's see what happened in Pennsylvania, man. I thought it was like a chill, laid back state, but I guess stuff be happening everywhere. So
not every day do we walk out of our homes and experience something out of the norm. Each day we expect the usual.
yeah.
We grow accustomed to the world around us and rely on the usualness of it all. Sometimes, though, we're given something else. Depending on where you live, that might even happen more than you'd expect. Whether in Florida, Oklahoma,
Man,
the Dakotas,
something always
or
happens
even
in Florida, man.
Pennsylvania,
Y'all know that
you
too.
might catch disturbing, unsettling, or downright terrifying things. Today's clips are from all around Pennsylvania, and we've got some of the wildest, most unheard of clips from the internet. Don't look away, you won't want to miss a single one.
Ain't no way, but
Deep, terrifying tunnel of crickets. Every town, city, and area has its creepy, dark secrets.
Stop it. Are you serious?
They house one of the country's creepiest, most disturbing tunnels in Copley, Pennsylvania.
Those are like the things like in the movies but smaller.
no, bro. Oh my, no.
Absolutely covered
no,
top to bottom in
no,
crickets.
no.
A fair warning, it only worsens from here. Even the people exploring this dark
Why
deep
y'all
tunnel
in
seem
there?
unsettled by the critters huddled together in pods and nests
Oh,
of
bro,
dozens.
what be wrong with people, bro? Look at that jump.
Oh my god, I can see them jump.
Ooh, it's like thousands of them.
Oh god, they're everywhere.
That
The
jump is
crickets are
dead,
known for
bro. Oh
jumping
my
when you feel
god, bro.
threatened, but the guy
Oh,
keeps
that jump
going,
is
knowing they're harmless
that
as long as you
jump is
keep going. The tunnel is partially collapsed. As he goes down deeper, you can see the rubble from inside falling and partially obscuring
Like, what is
the path.
that tunnel there for?
While he keeps
anyway,
going,
bro?
he says he plans to continue down the tunnel, well past his or anyone else's comfort levels, because he wants to see it to the end. This old rail
bro.
keeps going until he eventually
Stuff like
finds
this
the other
is
side, which is
dumb.
blocked off and impossible to pass.
And right here is where it comes out in the building, and the crickets
Straight
are
garbage.
really bad up here.
He turns back around through the buck and debris to head back out. This is basically a horror movie in the making.
That joint
But
is
it's also
nasty,
an urban
bro.
explorer's
That joint is so
absolute
nasty.
dream.
Seems fine to me.
Like, come on, bro. People just do random stuff, bro. Like, I don't know. What would be your
End of
reason
night
to
at a
support
disgusting
to support
McDonald's. There are many reasons to avoid a McDonald's, and cleanliness can be one of the best. When dealing with food, you want the utmost standard to be kept. That's
that's
not always
nasty,
the case for
bro.
understaffed, mismanaged fast food places.
like, you still eat
This
McDonald's, bro,
in
you don't care about
Uniontown,
life, bro.
Pennsylvania is a good example of things getting kicked behind the machines all day, or an
still
even
eat- if you
better
still eat
example of a
McDonald's,
health
you don't
code
not care about
violation.
life.
Either way, this short clip is a great opportunity to rethink your dinner plans today. Neighborhood
Nasty,
doggy
bro.
etiquette dispute. On CCTV, you can catch the absolute worst of people. This suburban family has been threatened and seemingly harassed by an aggressive dog walker for no reason. A neighbor dispute had escalated into a possible criminal investigation in Pittsburgh over picking up after their dog.
Why would you do that just because somebody tells you to pick up the dog poop?
The clip shows a woman, shown in red, gesturing
she
at the
mad?
CCTV cameras, motioning at a bag around her waist. She walks slowly around the driveway, showing off what looks like a gun, showing it off on camera.
Hey,
At
yo.
that point, she approaches the family's car, spitting 3 times on the vehicle.
Hey,
The clip
what?
helped identify the woman in the video, who they claim to be facing several charges due to the escalating level
Bro,
and
ain't
the
no
danger
way,
the
bro.
woman may pose to the family in
Bro,
question.
nah.
Neighbor disputes are not uncommon.
Yeah, you gotta
But
handle
when
that.
it's to this point,
Go cold over there, you gotta handle
it's
it.
become concerning.
Small plane crashes in suburbia. In an idyllic suburban neighborhood, things don't go wrong. When they do, they tend to rock little communities to their core. This doorbell camera captured what would be a defining moment here in this residential neighborhood in Parkassi, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. The quiet, overcast morning suddenly comes alight as an explosion happens in the distance. Quickly, things are revealed, and what seems like half the road is caught ablaze. The Ring camera stops filming a few
Hey,
moments
bro.
after a woman comes running out to check the damage, realizing how close the small plane had come.
Oh my god, it's right out down the street!
A terrifying
That's
moment
crazy,
for
bro.
everyone.
How
But
does the
especially in
plane,
small
like, he
areas
must
like
lost
this,
control of
this
that
is
thing or
big
something.
city insanity, not Bucks County.
He had to lose control or something.
Going
bro.
down in nuclear history. Sometimes vintage clips are just as terrifying as anything caught in 4K. Through a change from the rest of this video, this clip is just as haunting. It's a news report about a local nuclear power plant that suffered a massive failure from within.
For many years, there has been a vigorous debate in this country about the safety of the nation's 72 nuclear energy power plants. That debate is likely to be intensified because of what happened early this morning at a nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania.
While everyone in the 3 Mile Island was safe and the accident was not as big as, say, Chernobyl, one slow-moving cognitive machine, this could have been catastrophic.
Inside the containment building, the radiation is reportedly being measured at from 50 Rankins per hour at the base to 4,000 Rankins per hour at the top. Anything above 600 is considered deadly.
At the time, they couldn't find what caused the malfunction, though it was later revealed it caused a partial meltdown of the entire plant. It was one of the most significant commercial nuclear power plant accidents in U.S. history. It rated a 5 out of 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale, which is known as an accident with wider consequences. This was a failure of the non-nuclear secondary system, followed by a stuck-open pilot-operated relief valve in the primary system. This caused large amounts of nuclear reactor coolant to escape, compounding the mechanical failure of the initial breakdown, all driven by the plant operator's inability to recognize the situation as a LOCA or loss of coolant accident.
Mike Janowski was working inside.
Didn't see anything, didn't hear anything. All you hear is the turbine trip, and down she comes, and they announce it, and away you go.
The inadequacies of the training of staff and operators was compounded by design flaws. They crystallized anti-nuclear safety concerns among accidents and the general public, which at the time were already high. It was terrifyingly close to catastrophe, though, so can you blame them? School bus goes into creek. Kids should be, first and foremost, safe going to and from school. This was not your usual ride to school, though. Though clips are somewhat limited, multiple photographers catch the moments after their school bus swerves into a creek off the side of the road.
30 kids were riding this bus when police say the driver lost
So what happened? He lost control of the bus.
It began sinking beneath the water as everyone involved suddenly found themselves fighting for their lives. A few kids were injured, though thankfully no one more seriously. Still, even as a best-case scenario, it's hard to imagine a more terrifying situation to be updated on.
I found out that my grandson was all right. I called him on the phone, and I found out he was fine. But he hit his head pretty hard.
Imagine being at work and getting this call. A parent's worst nightmare. Tesla catches fire. If you're in a car you've spent tens of thousands of dollars on, you probably want to feel safe, right? Unfortunately, for some Tesla owners, this isn't the case. This Tesla Model S plate reportedly caught fire in Pennsylvania while the driver was at the wheel.
The driver's attorney says the driver was initially not able to get out of the car as the locks malfunctioned, and he had to force his way to the door, through the door.
Unfortunately, clips of the accident are sparse, but there are plenty of images of the wreckage. This person was okay, but the car didn't fare so well. It smashed, melted, and burnt to a crisp. The driver would probably need a ride to work in the morning. What do you think? Would you be comfortable getting another Tesla after a worst-case scenario like this? Or would you want something a little different and maybe a little less absolutely flammable? Car flies into fountain. Tourist attractions and business centers tend to get some of the worst divers, but in this case, it was late, the roads were wet, and we had very little information. The clip shows a white SUV flying down the road at breakneck speeds before hitting a pole and rendering itself airborne. The car comes to a hard stop when it hits the fountain, everything suddenly going dark in response. Thankfully, the person didn't sustain any threatening injuries, but it's still a terrifying experience all around. The person was reportedly part of a car accident before, which caused them to spin out and this to happen, but we only catch the insane, thankfully non-life-threatening conclusion. Oil refinery explosion lights the sky. Oil is volatile, needing to be kept conscious and handled with care. Fortunately, we rarely see catastrophic failures like this, but if it happens once, the clip can leave you gasping after it. It's a quick, massive explosion, at first expanding until the bright plume fills the screen. It dies down quickly, but rapid spread and far-reaching consequences took out the plant. Imagine driving down the road one night on your way home from work, only to be greeted with the sight of the world, quite literally from your vantage point, on fire. The massive flames engulfed a part of the plant, seemingly with no end, for quite some time as crews tried to tackle it. According to some reports, the crude oil section of the refinery had been
it's
shut
so much,
down, and the
it's so
blaze
much
apparently
electricity
could be
going
felt
on. It's
not
so
only
much
throughout the city,
so
but
much
as far
going on
away
over
as South
there, bro.
Jersey.
I couldn't
According
work
to some reports, the tea burned for more than 12 hours, with plenty of fuel to keep it going. It's almost surprising it ever stopped. Zero visibility car pilot.
I know it took him a minute to goddamn put that fire out, bro.
Visibility is not what you want to lose. Not in a car, at least. Definitely not when you're driving.
Ooh.
This particular truck driver quickly learned how true that statement was on a particularly rough-weathered afternoon. As you see them move, the dashcam has almost no visibility. That is, of course, until it's too late.
I mean, he couldn't see none of those, so you can't blame him, bro. Imagine you just driving, you think you just cool to this thing, you see a whole bunch of cars
truck moves to almost barrel them down. The clip cuts moments after the collision, though in this clip, seemingly no one gets hurt. It's clearly part of a much larger accident.
Now look, it's just like
With that
nobody
kind of
in front of him.
visibility, it might be impossible to stop. It must have been such an insane out-of-body experience, watching your car go so far spinning out of control like that. You can only imagine what's going through the driver's mind. What do you think you'd think about in a moment as
I think it was a lady in the way, or
as
a
the
man or
inevitable
something.
crash comes
Got out
up
of the way,
far too fast?
Want to make some extra spending money online?
John crazy, man. Pennsylvania be getting down like this, Brian?
Massive pile up in the snow.
Something going on.
It seems like this is a trend, because this is hardly the first or last terrifying clip. Like the last one, it shows off the dangers of low visibility conditions. Though in this clip, we get to see a bit more of what was happening. You can see car after car joining the fiery crash from the side of the road. There's small sedans, SUVs, vans, and semi-trucks alike.
This is ridiculous.
And then the car is going to keep going. You can't see nothing. The car
and it made the visibility down to zero.
Not to mention, plenty of people got out of their cars. Vehicles continue to add to the pileup, making the conditions more and more dangerous as time goes by.
Imagine your car, you got car just sliding down
and
and
will crash a ticking time bomb when that fire gets to a more dangerous place.
Crazy, bro.
The cars begin to pile up so that I-81 is closed off. The flames start growing a little out of control right before the clip ends, and we're left in suspense. Train sudden derailment. You don't need me to tell you how terrifying this following clip is. This train seems to be going by business as usual as one of the mechanisms keeping the train in place seemingly fails without warning. It's like something from a massive disaster movie rather than something apparently caught by CCTV. The train topples over, causing a few other cars to fall apart, and the whole train is derailed by the end of it. It's like a line of dominoes.
How does that happen?
If you drop one, the rest go. Thankfully, this wasn't a passenger train, and the cars fell away from people, but it could have just as quickly gone another way altogether. Before the last clip, since you watched until this point, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? We upload 2 new creepy, disturbing, and downright scary videos every week, so make sure to stay up to date with our latest releases by getting those post notifications. If you enjoyed this one, we have plenty more for you on the channel, so you won't want to miss a single one.
Pennsylvania ain't no
Far off shooting chaos. While scarier things have been caught on camera, the disturbing nature of this falls into a detached, far-off vantage point. There was a mass shooting, and you can see people by the hundreds fleeing the scene. Most people
everybody just gathered in one spot.
Shockingly dangerous for those involved, though we don't see any risky behavior. Knowing what's happening in the distance might be enough to unsettle anyone, but this clip shows the aftermath and chaos of such a traumatic event.
Man, our terrifying things in Pennsylvania. I mean, that cricket tunnel that jump still get me now. I could not do that. Yeah, man. Hopefully, y'all like the video. Yeah, bro. See y'all tomorrow, man.